Hello and welcome back. It's going to be something a bit different because I have COVID. I feel like crap and I look like it too. So we're going to be doing some short spooky stories. In the capital of Oslo in Norway, sitting by the water is a place called Akershus Fortress. It is so haunted that actually the locals who live there are kind of proud of how haunted it is. It was built in the 1300s. And over the years it has been used as a military base and a prison, also serving as residence to political leaders and royalty. There is a ghost dog that guards the castle. The dog was apparently buried alive, which is horrible, obviously. And its spirit continues to lurk, and anyone it approaches will die in the next 3 months. So if it comes up to you, you're dead. There is also a woman with no face who is seen walking about there. She wears a long robe and apparently shows herself to visitors from emerging from the darkness. Faces appear in anything that is lit, so any fire, candle, etc. around the castle. And you can also hear maniacal cackling and see people maniacally grinning as well, which sounds fabulous. So that is that. Next story. In Singapore, in the old Shanghai hospital, it is known to be very haunted, and its history is quite grim. It was built in 1935. It was originally part of a military base, and it was used during the Japanese occupation as a merciless prison by the Kempeitai, I'm really sorry, the Japanese secret police. A lot of people were killed, tortured there until the building turned into a hospital again, and this was at the end of the Second World War. In 1997, a new hospital was built on a different site, and the old Shanghai hospital has been empty ever since. There is so much ghostly activity there that it is known that only the most brave of people go to visit there. Sightings of Japanese soldiers who were executed there and patients who never managed to get out have also been known. Ghosts of people who died young haunt the children's ward, and you hear loud screams, crashes, bangs, etc. heard by many, many people. Next story. Apparently there is a real-life Casper the Friendly Ghost, although they are known as Clover. So in Washington, D.C., there is a hotel called the Hay Adams. So it opened in 1928, and it was known to be quite a luxurious place. And visitors such as Charles Lindbergh and Amelia Earhart frequented there. People claim that the hotel is haunted by Clover Adams, who was known as a socialite and the wife of a writer called Henry Adams. In the 1870s, they were part of the Washington, D.C. elite, and they hung out with people such as Teddy Roosevelt to Mark Twain. So here's the story of Clover. She was a photographer, and apparently after the death of her father, she fell into a deep depression and ended up taking her own life by ingesting the potassium cyanide which she used to develop film. The house which she died in was demolished, and the hotel was built in its place. So many guests have seen her ghostly figure on a couple of its floors. The typical thing of lights being turned on and off, doors locking and unlocking on their own. This is really creepy. So staff there have actually reported feeling hands being wrapped around them in kind of like a hug, which is enough to make me quit basically and run away forever. Next story. So this is about the Langham Hotel in London, in Fitzrovia. This is a very upmarket 5-star luxurious hotel. Again, I'm pretty sure I just said Mark Twain, but Oscar Wilde, Mark Twain, and Sir Arthur Conan Doyle have all stayed here in 1865. That's when it opened, I guess. Many celebrities stayed there. There are a lot of spooky goings on at the hotel, but most things seem to happen in room 333. And one of them that is regularly seen is a Victorian doctor who is said to have killed his wife while on honeymoon before then killing himself. Another ghost quite often seen is a German prince dressed in military clothing who apparently threw himself from a window of the 4th floor of the hotel. A lot of killing people's selves going on. Also, there's one ghost who likes to shake guests in their beds at night. Well, shaking them out of their beds, actually. One incident in room 333 ended up with one of the victims running from the hotel right in the middle of the night after this happened. I mean, you would, wouldn't you, to be fair? Also, ghostly hotel staff have been seen, all dressed in their work clothes, just sort of hanging about there. A man with a gaping wound on his face has also been spotted wandering around, and people have always said that the hotel feels strangely cold as well. So yeah, that's creepy. Next story. I'm sure you've all heard of the suicide forest, which is in Japan, and it's called Aokigahara. Sorry. Northwest of Mount Fuji, and is 13.5 square miles. It's also known as the Sea of Trees, apparently, and has been the backdrop for many creepy films. But yeah, the name it's known by most commonly is the suicide forest because of the sheer number of people who enter the forest and never leave. And apparently 100 people kill themselves every single year. And some people claim that it has been made popular by a novel where a heartbroken lover ends her life in the forest. So apparently the forest is so dense that there isn't actually much room to be able to walk through. And there is pretty much no wildlife, which is weird, I guess. And it's creepily quiet. Creepily quiet in there. So as people have been walking around, they have said of their feeling of unease because it's just so still and quiet in there. Apparently, there are lots of cave openings in there, and the floor of the forest is quite rocky, but the soil underneath that is very rich with iron, which apparently plays havoc with GPS and phone signals, which I don't understand how that works, but anyway, some people believe that it's demons messing with your technology and not giving you a way out of the forest because you can't contact anyone or whatever. People recommend, if you're going to go in there, mark where you've been with ribbon or tape so you know how to get out again. But people have also found that once they've done that and they've been on their way back, their tape has been purposely cut so that people then lose their way, basically. Again, people believe this is the work of a demon or demons. So the belief is that spirits of the dead who were killed in the forest, or claimed by the forest, I should say, live there, pretty much. And they are vengeful spirits who lure visitors deep into the forest off the path. Well, it's said that it's sad, lonely people, so people who are vulnerable will be lured There was a journalist who visited the forest and, quote, recalled hearing a blood-curdling scream and hurriedly followed the sound, only to find the body of a man who had been dead for some time, end quote. And other people have seen figures drifting in and out of the trees, and some people have even caught these on camera. Since the early 1970s, volunteers have actually been patrolling the area because suicide is so common there. They're basically there to recover the bodies and take them out of the forest to be laid to rest. So yeah, if you did want to go into the forest, stick to the paths. Do not follow any sounds, just keep on the paths. Because God knows what you'll see. Apparently there's lots of clothing, personal belongings, bones, remains, etc. So basically just don't ever go there. Okay. Next story. Outside Venice, there is a small island called Poveglia. As far back as 421, it's really weird saying that 421 was a year. But anyway, between 421 and 1379, it was inhabited. Residents fled here due to war. But in the late 1700s, the main building on the island was used to quarantine sufferers of the plague, many of whom died and their bodies were burned. In the late 1800s, the building was then used as an asylum. Human experimentation apparently happened here, and one doctor, it is believed, jumped from the bell tower to his death. Since the 1970s, the island has been abandoned. The locals don't go anywhere near it. No one, or very few anyway, dare to set foot on the island. Even people who are fishing on the water nearby refuse to get too close because they're too worried about fishing up dead bodies, basically. For people who have been brave enough to visit the island, they report hearing screams, voices, see shadows dancing apparently on the walls. People that have visited Poveglia have even claimed to become possessed, and one person or a few people have said that they'd get overwhelming feelings of rage and just this evil feeling inside them, which is just really creepy. I don't know why people want to go to places like this. It's intriguing, but it's also like, it's just not worth it, is it? Is it? I don't know. Anyway, thank you for watching. Hopefully I will be back to normal next time, and I will see you again soon. Bye.